So for 20 hours, my video was playing in the background while they were questioning me.
What? How does it feel to be a criminal?
In Sri Lanka, even for a murder case, you would be in prison for 2 weeks and you would get bail. In no way I say that I am the best stand-up comedian. At the airport, I was held up, but they didn't have a reason because it was an unlawful arrest. The bad cop told me, if you make any noise, you will be in trouble. It's a threat. I was in prison for 39 days. Said I can't eat. My cellmates get some noodles and they fed me.
The idea of a comedian is to poke holes at things. We ourselves can get strengthened in our faith and our beliefs.
When I was taken to my house, they found a pregnancy test kit. The worst crime that they have encountered. The propaganda was so crazy. What is sensational is someone's sexual life, especially a woman. A photoshopped photo, me with one of the ex-president's son. You just have to live your life. The way you understand is the best.
There's this public pressure for this arrest.
It was not just public pressure. There were certain...
Natasha Edirisooriya, welcome to the podcast. How does it feel to be a criminal?
Oh, great.
Sorry, I thought I'd throw that in there.
Yes. It's I mean, good. Actually, that's not a question I usually get because whenever I go into a room, the energy shifts suddenly. And I've just after that, it's like I went to this, and this has been happening. I was at a party, and then, you know how drunk girls are, they're having fun and dancing, and suddenly they would say me and oh, dude, I'm so sorry this happened to you. And then go back and dance and come back. And she kept looping and and then I felt like whenever I go into a room, I bring the energy down because it feels like everyone feels like they kind of have to come to me and kind of tell me about the political landscape and
they treat you, I mean, the serious, it's a very serious accusation. I can get that. But then I can understand for you, it's just you're always hearing that and you're like, guys, I went through it. Now I think I'm ready to,
yes. Right? I was actually thinking of getting a tattoo, a QR code tattooed on my forehead or forearm, and have everything about the arrest on a website so people can go and read with frequently asked questions. Yeah. But which a question I never get is how is it being a criminal, which I haven't thought about it, which I will think.
Yeah. So wait, is this on your record that you were arrested now? How does that work?
So I was arrested and I was in prison for 39 days, but I wasn't charged. So I have no problem in going to other countries. That doesn't go in that record.
Right. Man, that's crazy. So the arrest is what the focus was on because they could never criminally charge you though.
So that is why it is an unlawful arrest because usually, again, I'm going back to talking about
it's great,
so usually in Sri Lanka, even for a murder case, if you are accused of a murder case, you would maximum you would be in prison for 2 weeks and you would get bail.
Right.
And then you go through the trial. Okay. And then if you get charged, then you will get convicted and go back to prison.
Right.
What happens with the ICCPR and PTA, they only give bail under special circumstances. Okay. So you will be in prison indefinitely. Yeah. So that is why it is used to punish people or punish dissent. So that is why it is a law that is... what do you call it? Misuse. Yeah. So that what happened was the law was misused. So I was put in prison. Yeah. Just because someone made a complaint. Yeah. And police and okay. And when you go to prison under ICCPR, you can't get bail.
Right. Because this is from what I understand from this act is it's the ICCPR Act was meant to protect against incitement to violence, right? That's the general idea of what that is. So why are you inciting violence, Natasha? Why are you doing that?
Pathum makes me so violent.
Pathum, your friend in the
Yes, yeah. So
yeah.
I think, yeah.
So wait, I have to ask, what was, because I know there was a joke. All I know is there was a joke that was said, and that's what caused this uproar with certain individuals and certain organizations. What was the joke?
So it was a 14-minute set.
Yeah. At Modabhimana, right? Or was that?
Yeah. So
that's a show.
That's the show.
That's a comedy show where you have all of these different comedians from across Sri Lanka coming together to make people laugh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it was particularly set on April 1st, April Fool's Day. So the set that I performed, I wrote as well. It had few things that I covered, but the specific joke that people got walked out.
Yeah. Do you want to tell me the joke like I'm in the crowd right now? Okay. Ready?
Okay. So the joke I say is like, when I look at contemporary Sri Lankan parents, I always wonder how hard it must have been for contemporary children of Lord Buddha.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you know much about the Buddhist history or Buddhist literature.
Yeah.
So according to Buddhist literature, which I am Buddhist.
You are a Buddhist.
Yes,
okay.
I am. So according to Buddhist literature, when Lord Buddha was born, right after he was born, he walked 7 steps and he said 3 things, which I don't exactly remember, and I can't explain it in English. Sure. I know it in Sinhala.
Yeah.
So he said, Mama lovata agavemi, Mama lovata detuemi. So, which means like he kind of predicted what he would become. He would become the enlightened.
Yeah.
So this is a child who talked and walked and who knew who had career goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right after he was born.
Yeah.
So my joke was like how hard it must have been for the contemporary kids.
Yeah.
Their parents might have been like always comparing their children with this amazing kid who know what he's going to become and who is walking and talking right after he was born. And other kids, while they are like 2 years old, they are still spoon-fed and like can't even walk properly. Yeah. So that was the joke.
Wow.
It's not that even that controversial.
Yeah.
Like, people do think like when I say that, okay, I went to a prison for a joke, they expect it to be so controversial, which is not. So I sometimes like, I'm reluctant to even tell the exact joke because it kind of puts me down. Like, that's not even that controversial.
Yeah. I think I can tell from your delivery, it would have been like such a hoot, but I don't think it really points fingers in a way where it's just like bringing something down. It was just, and I also think like the idea of a comedian is to poke holes at things, right? So that we ourselves can get strengthened in our faith and our beliefs. Cause then we're like, oh, we can laugh at that. I mean, there's so many fun things about different religions that poke fun at it. And I feel like there's an extremist side that only finds things that are comedies about religion that find it offensive, as opposed to the everyday person that actually practices it is just like, that's really funny. That's really good. So you get arrested, and on the way back or on the way out, you're arrested at an airport.
No. I spent a good month without getting arrested after the show.
Oh, okay.
The show was like, there was nothing. Yeah. Like everyone laughed.
Yeah.
And then I think a month and a half maybe later, May 23, it went on YouTube.
Okay.
The performance went on YouTube. And that's when it all started.
And this joke was in Sinhalese, right?
Sinhalese. Yeah.
And so then it attracted some attention from some folks.
No, what happened was like, so the entire set is 14 minutes, but a 1 minute and 30 seconds clip was edited, and that's what went viral.
And that wasn't from the actual channel. It was somebody else edited that?
Yes.
Okay.
which I have no idea who.
Yeah.
But that's what people saw. So it is edited and beeped and make to look like that I say very wild things, which I didn't.
Sensationalized, for socials.
And so I think it's the cognitive biases as well. So you see this, and then even after you watch the actual video, you have that cognitive bias. And so you don't see this objectively. And in people's head, I have already become the woman who said wild things on the stage. So that's what happened.
So you were labeled instantly.
Yes.
So you're traveling out of the country because you were arrested at BIA. I'm confused about that.
Yes.
You're at the airport.
So I think 26th or 27th, I don't even remember the timeline. So things were getting heated up, and then my partner at the time and right now as well.
I was like, breaking news. He's watching this podcast. He's like, what? At the time? What the heck?
So he was like, okay, let's. And this is something I think we've still have to make peace with as well. So he kind of took my phone. Okay, don't watch anything. And I've been getting calls and messages from friends as well, what is happening, and I also don't know what is happening. And then it's like, I also learn about a lot of things about myself while it was happening. So I was also very confused what is happening. And also when I did the performance, like, as I am Buddhist, I had no intention, or that was not in my concepts that this could be taken out of context, because that was not in my concept. So when this was happening, I was also very confused. What is happening? And then so he took my phone, and I was at one of our friends' house, and then I remember I slept, and one point, I think it was middle of the night, I don't know how long I slept, and I woke up, and then Patum said, and so all the communication kind of went through him. He was like, I had few friends with me. Because I was still laughing, and I was like, okay, until this dies down, I will not look at my phone, which is very sensible thing to do. And then Patum came up to me and said, we haven't gone on our honeymoon. We're not married, by the way. So let's go on our honeymoon. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. And but still, of course, I do understand there's things are happening. So, and then I remember on our way to the airport also, I was living in my Bollywood dream, that a guy coming up and kind of shielding me from everything that is happening and taking me out of the country. That's because I grew up watching Bollywood movies. So that's the ultimate Bollywood dream. And I was living that for 45 minutes until we went to the airport. And then at the airport, I was held up. And I think adrenaline rush, or you don't process at certain things when it happens. So I was still living in my Bollywood dream. And I think maybe that's how you cope as well, because it's too hard to kind of believe that something crazy is happening outside because of me. And also to comprehend what would happen next. So it's easier to live in the Bollywood dream where there's this guy who who is protecting you from everything that is happening and not even letting you see anything. So I was held at the airport, and also he was released to go. I was not.
So was there somebody that gave a tip off saying, hey, Natasha Edirisooriya is leaving the country or something?
There are rumors.
Okay.
But
what do you think? Do you know? Okay, you can't say.
I think I do believe certain rumors, because there's only few people who knew about that. Because even I didn't know until only people who Patum talked to So I wasn't even aware like what is happening. He was like, okay, let's go on.
You didn't know the
like,
schedule. You didn't know the itinerary. You were just like, hey, we're leaving.
Yes. So so that this is also something that I with a lot of love, I speak to Pathum. You could have given me the chance to make a decision. You should not have blindsided me. I know you did that with love, but I think I'm an adult woman. I could have owned what happened. I could have owned the decision that I made.
Absolutely.
Not just follow you. I think it's something again, like it's knowing that he did it with love,
of course,
but also understanding that I lost the opportunity to own what I did, because I did not have the freedom to make the choice for myself. And I did, because I didn't have all the information. If I had known, okay, this is happening, so we have to make a choice. You either go to prison here. So I did not have all that information. I don't know. I don't think he also had the information, because we were not prepared for any of these things. And there were like 100 people calling and giving us advices so contradicting. So you have to make a decision. So I think he made the decision with love, because
to protect you.
Yes. So it's again, like, because this is something I get asked a lot, and which I haven't publicly spoken as well, because at the end of the day, we were the one who were in that. And also I can, of course, break up with him and say, like, I don't, but I know it came from love. And also he stood there with me throughout. So even at the airport, I remember, like, he was free to go. I was held up, but they didn't have a reason. They didn't have a reason. I think this was something that came out at the Human Rights Commission as well. That because it was an unlawful arrest, they didn't do any preliminary investigation. They just gave after they had sent a message saying that just to hold me, but that is not something that you can do.
Right. So help me understand that, because this is going on social media, and this goes on social media. There's this uproar in certain groups and certain individuals that are like, this is unheard of. And so there's this public pressure on for this arrest. And I'm guessing that's why they did this without any preliminary investigation, because there's like people asking for your arrest, or like, why would they just jump straight into it?
This is just me. I don't believe it was just public pressure. It's just, I don't think it's just public pressure. It's just because I was there throughout the arrest, and I was questioned for 20 hours.
Right.
And I was taken to my own house and investigated again unlawfully. They didn't even let me know that, they didn't even tell me that I was taken to my own house. And I'm very bad with directions. Okay. So I was told, okay, we are going to the magistrate's house, because it was a Sunday. So this was way, way later in the day after I was arrested.
Right.
Do you want me to go back to the airport?
Yes. Go back.
Yes. Okay. So so they didn't even have any idea that why they are detaining me. They were just showing my passport on the screen and just saying, we have to.
Okay.
And my Pathum kept asking, so why are you keeping her? And they didn't have any idea.
So can I ask you one question? Like when we watch movies or series from America, it is like when you're doing this arrest, you have to give them their rights. You have to let them know their rights. Like, what was that arrest experience? Was it like cuff and be like, Natasha Edirisooriya, you have the right to remain silent? Or was it just like, hey, we got you?
in Sri Lanka, actually, women are not put on cuffs.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I know.
You missed out on a cool opportunity.
Exactly. I went through all this, but still I didn't get to go under cuff. So this is, I actually have a joke as well, because just to make myself feel better, I go home, every time I feel like feeling that experience, I tell Pathum to put me on cuffs and treat me like the bad girl I am.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so, sorry.
But also I think I was in my head. So this is even at prison, everyone is this insulting Buddhism, who paid you, who did that, this making me something that I am not. All the while I'm sitting there looking at Pathum and living in my Bollywood dream where he was having a fight with the officer at the airport, and I was like, I did something right. I did something right. And then and I remember there was he got escalated, and only thing that went through in my head is I don't want him to get in trouble. So I held his hand and then just calmed him down. And in that moment I knew okay, this man is going to get me out. This man is going to get me out. And I was very calm. Was very calm. I think that's what kind of kept me through the prison as well, kind of knowing that this, and not just him, of course, there were swarms of friends coming and asking what is happening. And then, so going in, I knew the love and support I've had, and it's just, so, and also, I was then held at the CID at the international airport, Bandaranaike International Airport. And so I work with, I used to work with a lot of organizations that work with menstrual health and sexual health. And I was at a workshop, and I had a few condoms that was given by the FBA.
Yeah.
So I had that on my bag because it was, I think, 25th or 26th, I was at the workshop. And then, so I had the same bag with me. So I was at the airport, and I remembered, oh my God, I have condoms on my bag, and I have seen how news kind of get out. It's sensationalized. Sort of. I had the sense to go to the washroom and get the condoms out and wrap it in a tissue and put it under the pin. So that's I think I was very sane as well. I was very calm. I knew okay, this is happening. I just have to get through this. So then I was then taken to the CID in Narahenpita and was questioned for 20 hours. I just and so for 20 hours, my video was playing in the background while they were questioning me.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Wait.
And my own voice, I think.
Wait, hold on. That's a lot to unpack here. So you're arrested and you're brought into the CID, the police station, and their way of interrogating you is playing your joke in the background or the video. Oh my God.
While questioning, it was playing, and there was a good cop and the bad cop, obviously.
No way. They do that?
Yes, they do. So and good cop, I think I have Stockholm syndrome. I gave him a hug. Thank you very much for being there. So they were the one who sent me to prison as well.
Yeah.
And then now I realize, okay, this is what Stockholm syndrome is, because for 20 hours, one of the most unpredictable traumatic events in my life, they were there. Even though they mentally and verbally abused me, but they were there. So I remember when I was sent to prison, so I got down from the SUV, and I was like, thank you because I'm someone who hugs people. I think after the arrest, I have somewhat stopped that as well. So I was there was another girl as well, sort of because I asked that I need a female officer with me. Throughout the arrest, I kept asking that. They gave me that, but they didn't give me legal counsel which I am entitled to, but that I didn't get that. So I was like, thank you very much. And I hugged them.
Yeah. That's interesting. So here these guys are interrogating you with the video playing in the background. What did you ever feel like they were kind of, because I've heard how interrogations go. Sometimes you're exhausted and there's so much pressure that you just want to say what they're asking you to say.
Okay, what they asked me was, who told you to say this? Who told you to say this? And for me, because I'm in no way I say that I am the best stand-up comedian.
Mm-hmm.
The things I have done, I think as an activist, I'm very proud of, but as a stand-up comedian,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I think I'm like 1,000, 10,000 steps behind the stand-up comedian I want to be. So with that, but I'm very proud of the things that I write.
Yeah.
And I treat them as my children. Like, they are my children and
Yeah.
I'm very proud of them. So they kept asking me, who asked you to say this? Who asked you to say this? And in my head, only thing that went through was like, no, I wrote this. Like I get very insulted when someone asks me, because that is a question I get asked a lot before the arrest. Whether I write my own jokes, which I do. They might not be the best jokes, but I write my own jokes. So I kept saying, no, I did write this. Because there is in no way that, even if I was killed, because those were the things I wrote and those are mine, my children. So,
and it's not like, because I kept seeing YouTube comments on it. It was like, oh, she's funded by this particular, she's funded by the Americans, or like to say these things, but that's not her. Is it because of your association of like you've worked on these?
Yes, I have worked. I was a project manager at one point with USAID project.
Mm-hmm.
It was called English on Wheels, which I worked with kids, of course. So that was a job I did, which I got paid for. But like, I'm 100% sure with my knowledge, I was not funded by anything. But also this is something, so when I came out of prison, the propaganda was so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anything I would do, you can say something. Or Mama JPEG kiyana pulang, like, she's a JPEG. I don't know how to say that in English. So, or like I was funded by USAID, or there was, and also about my sexual life where I sleep with men there were like, and there were photoshopped photo with me with one of the ex-president's son.
Okay.
Which I have never met him as well. So the propaganda is like way crazy and contradicting. It doesn't have a narrative, right? It's like
just there to cause noise.
Yes. So it's like saturates the space. I think it's, if you can't convince someone, just confuse. So that's what the propaganda was. But also when I came out of prison, I looked around and there was no way that I could just scream and set the narrative right. Because noise was so high, so confusing. There was nothing I could do. And in on itself, I felt so liberated. Okay, anything I would do would be scrutinized. Might as well just live my life. So it was one of the most peaceful moments that I felt, okay,
You got a taste of what it feels to be a politician, I think. Because sometimes
which I have no intention of going into. Okay.
Are you saying that you're gonna just get sensationalized? But it's interesting because I remember. Have you ever read that book, Tisri Vanirachi? She served under I can't remember which administration. I'm gonna say under Maithripala's President Maithripala's administration, where she was famously known for exiting during the coup. And so she wrote a book about the Department of Chosen Ones, about her experience, which is a fantastic read. She steps out into the limelight and hears the public talking about how she's like, leaving this government, and she's very young, and obviously one of the youngest, I think, to enter into politics at that time. And the first thing that they write about her is like about her sex life and her sex. Like it's with, I think specifically for women, the first attack is about your sex life and about your personal choices. And that's just the first thing that's blown up. Do you think that's like, there's a reason for that?
Okay. So I've looked at the propaganda to make sense for myself. And what I understand is like sometimes it's about making things sensational for the general public. So what is sensational is someone's sexual life, especially a woman's. So that is also something that played a key role in the propagandas because I'm a woman, like, you know, you can say things. And I've made a lot of jokes relating to sex. I wouldn't say I make sex jokes because those are not the jokes that I want to make. They are just grazing around sex because we don't still have that type of audience where like, you know, but I am planning to, of course.
Nice. Because you evolve, right? You want to have a good mix. You want to find stuff that sticks, that kind of helps you as a comedian identify with, oh, I really like racial jokes. I like, I mean, you listen to folks like, I love Sashi Perera. She brought you up, by the way. She was just like, she came on the podcast. She was like, yeah, what happened to Natasha Edirisooriya? It was crazy. I was like, because I didn't know until like I saw the headlines and stuff, and she's the one that pointed me into what was happening because it was also like kind of covered in a certain way in different areas and different parts of society, and I was very, very intrigued after I found out. And then here you are, you know, fast forward on the news again, and there was a public apology for what happened to you. So how did that? So that ended up in a court case again, right? For you. So the case against me got dismissed in 2024 June. Okay. On the basis of not having enough evidence to go forward, so it got just dismissed. And then I went to the Supreme. I got the Human Rights recommendation, Human Rights Commission recommendation, saying that my fundamental rights were violated. By the way, I'm going to that default way of talking about the case because I have been talking about this for 3 years this way. So I got the Human Rights Commission recommendation saying that my fundamental rights were violated. And then I went to the Supreme Court and wanted to make sure that I do everything in my power to make sure that the next person doesn't have to go through what I went through. So good. So I asked for an apology. I asked for a lot of things. I wanted a lot of things, as in like, you know, apology from a lot of people. But I got an apology from the good cop. Oh, the good cop, the one that you give on to. Yes, good cop. So he was the good guy. Kind of.
He was the arresting officer, so he's in no way he's the good guy. But also, again, I don't hold anything against him because this is a systemic issue. He was the one who got caught in the middle of everything.
They needed a scapegoat.
Yes, so he was there, but also everything happened under his watch. Even going to my home and like checking my cupboards and my drawers and everything. So everything that happened under his watch, of course. But he was just, at least he was nice to me when it was happening. There was another person who was very abusive and very tormenting.
Yeah. What were they hoping to find in your, like, was there a reason why they had to go to your house to search your house? Like to find like, aha, as we suspected, she is a sex craving lunatic. We found it. Like, what are they looking for?
They were actually not looking for sex craving evidence. They were looking to, so because my allegation was while like inciting violence against religious harmony. Right. So they were looking for evidence for that. That's why I say that it was not just public pressure. There were certain powers in play because that's like up until that point I was cracking jokes and like, you know, I was just very cooperative with them because I also felt like, what is this? Like, you know, and sort of like I because that's my personality as well up until the prison at least. Sort of like, you know, I I'm a very fun person. And then when I was taken to my house and like when we went there, the bad cop told me, so we take people to show weapons just like this. If you make any noise, there are reporters. So you will be in trouble, kind of like, it's a threat actually.
Yeah.
Because like in colloquial language, when we say when we take people to show weapons, that's like, to shoot. So that was a bit of that was a threat.
Right.
So we went into my house with, at that point, was a mess.
Damn, that's the worst. The first thing that goes to your mind, like, man, these cops are coming. My house is not clean. They're going to judge me.
Yeah, that's like, yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, so they went through a lot of things. And but you have to come to my show because I plan to talk about these things.
Yeah.
There was one show I did which I talk about this. So there was actually a pregnancy test kit that they found, and like it was like the worst crime that they have like encountered, having a pregnancy test kit in an unmarried woman's house. So
wow.
Yeah, so and then that
I could just imagine that call. They're just like, they find the pregnancy. It was like, we got this son of a bitch. We got him. And they're high-fiving each other.
It's more like, you know how Sri Lankan aunties can be, right? But like it's 10 times judgy. Sort of like, that's the entire tactic.
Yeah.
That their interrogation tactic was that. Like even throughout the ride to my home, they was telling me, we spoke to your friends. They told us everything about you, how your character is.
Wow.
And like, luckily I have watched a lot of movies.
Yeah.
So I could like understand in my head, okay, this is an interrogation technique. And like, I was, in my head, I was laughing.
Yeah.
But I think when I was, and then they took 3 of my books that I have written crazy things, which, journals, my journals and my thoughts. And like, there's a journal that Pathum gifted me. Sometimes instead of having fights with him, I would write crazy things, blaming him or like, things about like him that was, because I don't want to have small fights with him. So that's how I process sometimes. So they took that book as well.
Oh no.
So I think that was also the moment I realized, okay, they're just trying to get something to pin this on me. And this is not a fair investigation.
Yep.
It's just, again, powers are at play. And I think at that point I was tired as well. I've been up for like so long and I've been questioned for 20 hours. And then I was sent to the magistrate's court, magistrate's house actually. By the way, now is interdicted. That magistrate is interdicted now. And I don't like to brag, but I think I have the right to brag about this. And also there were few actors kind of like, had held press conferences against me. Rest in peace. Now he's dead. And I didn't do anything. I have to say that on record. I didn't do anything. And then there was another person, I think he was in prison recently. And also this magistrate who kind of was on my case is interdicted. And I met Super Singha, the good cop, and he told me even the CCID is dissolved now.
Wow.
It was, I think, taken into the CID, so the CCID doesn't exist anymore. That the division that unlawfully arrested me.
Let's go, man. That's huge.
Yes, it's like, I tell Pathum as well, like, please don't cross me. I don't do anything. I don't even think of like, bad, I don't even think bad thoughts against anyone. But like this happened. This has happened.
Yeah. That is
funny.
wild. So so everyone that was involved in that, obviously
not everyone, but like
not everyone.
Yes,
there are people still out there.
Yes.
But what was the win for you? for you personally, I mean, we've seen the news articles, we've seen the news telling us what this win is, but for you, what was the win?
I think this is exactly the win, because that was something I've tried to understand as well. Because going into prison the way I did, very publicly, for not committing a crime, and also then having to seek forgiveness for a crime that I never committed. That has been my journey so far. Last 3 years, it would have been easier if I actually had done anything, so I can ask for forgiveness. But what has happened was like I haven't, but in the public eye, I have to seek forgiveness. I have to redeem myself for a crime or a sin I never committed. So in no way that I can say that what happened was okay. So that was also one of the reasons I didn't ask for a monetary compensation, because there's no amount of money that make things okay. And so I looked at other cases similar. And most of them have won the case at the Supreme Court, but they would get a monetary compensation and then an order saying that these circulars should be reformed. These guidelines should be reformed, but it just stops there. So
there's no follow through and things like that, right?
Yes. So for me, the win would be actually doing a systemic change. And so I pushed for that and was able to reform the guidelines under ICCPR arrest. It was supposed to come yesterday. It was supposed to finalize yesterday and got into the public. But I checked with my legal counsel. As of yesterday, it has not been happened. But
by the time this podcast comes out, it's probably out.
Yeah, so probably.
Future congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. And also, one of the other reasons that I didn't ask for compensation is it would come from taxpayers' money.
Right.
And I didn't want to have that on my conscience. And this is something I think people don't understand as well. Whenever someone goes to prison, it is funded by taxpayers' money.
Correct.
So when someone goes unlawfully into prison, people can rejoice, but also it goes, it is funded by their money. So I didn't want that on my conscience, actually.
Wow. I commend you for your conscience. It's such a, I mean, it's not as easy as you're putting it. I mean, obviously you've gone through the battles, but to think about, your time, your life just being flipped upside down, like the first thing that I don't know, maybe my conscience is at that place where I'm just like, dude, I need to, like, this is not fair. And here you are thinking about other people and taxpayers. It's
not easy. Of course, I have a bitch inside me, but want to kind of like
rip shit apart.
So if I give her way, it would be like, everyone who wronged me come dropping down on their knee and crying their hearts out, asking for my forgiveness. But I mean, then the adult in me have to pull myself together and sort of be pragmatic as well.
Amazing.
So it's not like every day I wake up thinking, okay, how can I forgive everyone today? How can I be the best version of myself? Of course, I have the worst days where I feel like, this country should burn. I understand what Kueni said, when she cursed, I understand, I stand with her. But then I feel like, okay, this is the country we live in, and this is a politically charged country, and people have gone through so much loss because of the war and then the economic crisis. So everyone is living with this hopelessness and grief. So sometimes it kind of transmute into anger. And I was in the receiving end at one point. And and it takes a lot of energy to come to that place. Of course, even recently I've had moments where, this should not have happened. And but the reality is there's nothing I can do right now. So I might as well pull myself together. I think Pathum gets the worst end of it when I have, so
It's rough. It's rough, but I also, man, I just think I have to commend that because you're an upstanding citizen and a great reference point to how you formulate, how you think, because you're constantly thinking about improving things as opposed to using what happened to you to victimize yourself. And I think you're implementing change, not just on the level of the judiciary system, but also from an individual standpoint, because you're framing how somebody could use something that happened to them and use it for good, as opposed to fuck everything.
Yes. I mean, that's why I said it's not something that you wake up every day like a sunsilk ad, like, I'm going to change the world today.
You and I would be great sunsilk ad people, by the way, just saying.
By the way, this is not sponsored by Sunsilk, right?
But now it should be. Sunsilk, where you at, bro? Look at these curls. Look at this.
Yes, I can let down my hair if you want to. Yeah. So yes, it's also, I think I have, before the arrest, before everything happened, like I was working in working in NGOs, and I did this massive research on sexual harassment. And then I realized people don't talk about sexual harassment because we don't even talk about sex. We don't even acknowledge that sex is for pleasure. It's just like, it's very hush-hush. It's a taboo topic. And I thought, okay, I'm going to talk about sex, and I want to tell Sri Lankan women, or like give the opportunity to Sri Lankan women to have and enjoy sex. So I I think had that savior complex in a way. And I think I have come out of it. It feels like sometimes you just have to live your life.
Yeah.
The way you understand is the best.
Yeah.
And I really don't like the words impact, or like the word, I don't know what you said, kind of like, it's because it's all outside. At the end of the day, it's about how I treat my partner, how I treat my family, how I show up for them, and also, to my understanding, how I can deal with the things that I have been given. So that's just it. Otherwise, I don't. It feels a little uncomfortable when even like, I did this speech at the Global Free Speech Summit, which is a discourse that I have been thrown into. It's just, it feels a bit overwhelming as well, to think that, okay, whatever I do is going to, it's hard enough to feel like I'm getting scrutinized, and I don't want any responsibilities on my shoulders as well. And I just want to make silly jokes and make people laugh.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I get it. Do you think it's like a form of like not accepting that, like what happened to you has changed the landscape in some fashion? Do you feel, and this, you can be honest with me, do you feel because this happens to a lot of people, it happens to me too. Is there a sense of like an imposter syndrome of like, do you feel that?
Yes, of course, because like I said, I'm like 1,000 steps, 10,000 steps behind the stand-up comedian I want to be. And I feel like I got the publicity way before I had the chance to grow as a comedian. And next year, that's my goal, because I got my master's. I did my master's in the UK. And so legal case is over, and also immediate circles. And also something I have to say, that I'm one of the most privileged women in Sri Lanka. I have so much love from my family, from my partner, from my friends. So that is all set. So the next year, I want to give myself that chance to grow, become the comedian that I want to become. Go. Yes, please come to my show.
Yeah. When is your show?
Oh, that is something I have been writing for the longest time, because I think I'm changing in an exponential rate.
Yeah.
So something that I thought is funny 2 weeks ago, I don't find it as funny, because I have changed as a person. So it's kind of like, it has been a journey, but it's been long enough. I have to sit and write and perform because that's something I want to give myself a chance to become.
I love that. I'm excited. I'm excited for your shows. I will definitely be there. Please do let us know.
Congratulations on your Emmy win.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you. Yeah. God's like same thing. Imposter syndrome. I'm just like, sometimes like, why me? Because there's so many talented folks across that are Sri Lankan that are doing some amazing work. Why me? And then I realized like sometimes I've come to the place, I don't have it anymore. I've come to the place that there was a reason for that. Because we also give back, we train people. We're not in this business to make money from education, of training people to set a standard of what Sri Lanka cinema is supposed to look like. So now that's kind of off like my mind. It's now we realize there's a purpose for everything and why things happen. And now we just roll with it. So
do you have anything interesting coming up next?
Well, we're working on a couple of things. There's a series that we're working on that we can't announce yet, but it has I would call it Sri Lanka's favorite son is hosting that particular series that we're doing. And I think when I call that person Sri Lanka's favorite son, he wouldn't agree with that, but the nation would. I think we can only have a handful of people that we're very, very like proud of to say that's a Sri Lankan. And so we're excited about that series to come out. Can I ask you one last question? What was prison like?
Okay, that's a question I get asked a lot. Okay, it's prison. It was crazy. It was hard, but I managed to survive. I made a friend. I don't know if you've seen that. There's a yellow color dress that I came out of prison wearing. That was from that friend because I didn't have anything substantial that I could wear. Oh. So she gave me her dress. It was really good. Like, I really love that dress. And I also had nail polish, which I put on when I was in prison. So prison has everything. Yeah. It's crazy. I saw amazingly crazy things like, dehigedi kapanewa, like, it's just like, this, and the currency system is crazy different. But also, verbal abuse and mental abuse is very palpable. Yeah. Even for 39 days, my personality changed a bit. I remember just after that, I came out of prison. I went to a resort, and so we were going to go into our room, and I felt like I have to go and tell the manager that I have to ask the permission. So that's kind of like, that's how it changes. Yeah. And this is for 39 days. Yeah. So that's like, I want to write about this because it's not something that you can just condense into even a 30-minute episode. It's it's so much. I think to this day, I am reprocessing and going through things that happened and things that I saw. I think I didn't cry when I was in prison. I cried after I came out, not because I had to go to prison, but why did I have to see all these things? It's so much injustice. And even when I was in prison, something that I felt was my privilege. I could speak, I could read, I could write, and my immediate cellmate can't read or write. And she would write love letters to someone who is in the male prison. And I had to write those letters. Right. Because she can't read or write. And I had to read her love letters that she would get. Yeah. And there was a woman who was in prison because she couldn't pay the fine of 3,000 rupees. 3,000 rupees. Wow. She couldn't pay that. So she's in prison for, I think, 3 months. And so there is a hierarchical system, and like, so it's, and also I saw a lot of fun things that happens as well, because these women, they don't dial down their personalities just because they are in prison. They live their full versions of themselves, which I didn't. I kind of dial down myself, but they don't. So you meet these amazing people that you would never meet outside. And my identity had been changed to a prisoner. So the way I interacted with them as a prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
So there was something different about it.
Mm.
I can never get that.
Yeah.
I would never be a prisoner. I can't say never, but because as myself, I can't go to a prison and interact with them like that. But as a prisoner, I was able to, like, there were days like we would play Robin Marion.
What is that?
That it's a game that we played when we were kids, like, so you would have cheats named Robin, Marion, Tuck, Will, Joan, like people who are at the Robin Hood.
Right.
And then, so it's like Robin has to ask Marion to give him a signal. And then Robin has to guess who the Marion is.
Mm-hmm.
So we would play games like that. And I told you that there was one person who couldn't read or write. So we have to put a sign that she could read. Oh. So it's and again, like, and also they're so clean. They're so clean. They would bath all the time. And like, so my prison cell, there was this one prisoner. She would clean it every week. Wow. And I don't even clean my house that often. So it's like, it's so clean. They keep themselves very clean. So I think there was a day that I felt like I was like, I'm done. Like, I can't even have a shower at night because like I'm in prison, like who would care? But like they would make fun of me with love, like with a lot of like, so it's so that it's like that. And then it was I don't know, it's an experience. It is an experience that I don't take for granted. It has forever changed me. But one thing I think I would take with me is, it's a very harsh condition, but they somehow have managed to get through it with love and compassion. Yeah. There were like, there were days there was one day I felt like I can't eat. I think just before my first trial, just my court date. And so for remand prisoners, you can get food from outside. Your family can bring food. Okay. But I said, I don't want anything. I'll eat from the prison because my family had other better things to worry about. Like they had to worry about getting me out. So I was like, no, I'll eat what I get from the prison. So that particular day I said I can't eat. And it was at night. And my cellmates, they had somehow managed to get some noodles and chicken gravy, and they fed me. And I mean, I was in prison and I had people who took care of me, and it means a lot. It's like, and it was hard as well. Of course, you can't even have a conversation with them because they don't understand. For them, of course, I was the woman who defamed Buddhism. I was the woman who defamed Buddhism for them. But with that also, I was like, I was able to get them on my side because I think when I went to prison, what happened was like they had believed all the stories that was said about me, this wild woman. And then they see me, the personality that was created about me doesn't match. And over the time, even the jailers warmed up to me. Some of them, not everyone. So it was it's hard to say this is exactly what prison is. It's a little bit of everything. But all in all, and also I carry a lot of guilt as well. I never went back and visited them because I don't know what I can say. Hey, are you still here? I'm out. Like, I don't know what I can say. So that's something I have not made peace with. And I write letters to myself, like just saying sorry. And that is something I don't know how to make peace with as well, because the friend which I'm very fond of, she was young, 4 years younger than me, and like this vibrant personality. She might be there for life.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's a lot. Man. That's a lot to, like you said, it's very hard to encapsulate that into like, this is what it's like, because you lived, you entered a different world than what we're used to. Cause we do live in different worlds.
Yes. So it's
a hard thing to process, but if anyone can process, I think it's the woman that writes everything down.
Yes. So no, when I start to talk about the prison, there's like, I feel like, because no one would know them. Only I know them. And I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure that whenever I talk about them, I do them justice. And that's why I haven't spoken about it, because it's not something that I can just like talk about. I have to make sure, because I can't even tell their names.
Yes.
I can't tell their names. I can tell their numbers. By the way, my number was 689.
Maybe that should be your tattoo.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit hard to it's a bit hard to talk about them and make justice towards them. They are only in my memory, no one else. Like if you meet your friends from schools, you get to talk like there's other people who know about them. But in my case,
you're the only one.
I am the only one who remembers them. It's a time set in. It's like, a particular time.
Yeah.
Even if I go back to prison, I wouldn't meet them. It's this. So I don't take it lightly. It's my responsibility to make sure that they are portrayed really well when I talk about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you, man. I thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it a lot.
Yes, thank you very much. So sorry, I regressed. So yeah,
not at all. I love that. I love that you feel free enough to speak about it, which is great.
Yes.